XTCG Kingdom here, introducing Clash Decks, a deck type centered around mixing two themes together and only using those theme cards to build a functional deck. I am using Amber and Emerald with Lilo and Stich and Moana to complete this. The deck will look like so. My Amber Emerald deck looks like this, and we will talk about this is the deck that I have come up with to help with these two themes and mixing them together. Our first card is Lilo, Escape Artist. She will help you with gaining lore through the questing, and then if she ever gets banished, she can actually come back at the beginning of your next turn in an exert state. The next one we have is Lilo, the one from set 1 that helps you gain lots of lore at a low cost of 1 uninkable ink for when you want to play her. You are going to be focusing on trying to get all these 1 costs right away. Our next 1 cost is Myrtle, Lilo's rival. We are going to be using her to at least take some of the damage from other cards so that she can actually just gain a few lore before she's taken out. She is just a low cost 1 character that we are dropping so that we can start playing early and quick at the beginning of the game. We are going to start with our 2 cost now, which is Stitch, Lilo Trickster. At any time during the game turn, you can actually pay over and over again 1 ink to make this character plus 1 strength, and then that way you can take out targets whenever you need to. He has a 1/3, so he's a good body to gain lots of attack on. We have our next character, which is Stitch. The one from set 1, our inkable 2/2. We are playing a lot of these Stitches so that we can later on get the shift targets on top of them and make use of those. For our next card, we are trying to do a second focus for the deck, and that is our David, Impressive Surfer. He gives you +2 lore while you have a Nani on board. Well, we play a couple Nanis in the deck so that we can make use of the different abilities and different functions. So one's a bodyguard and one is a character that gives support, which we'll explain in a little bit. Our first Nani is the Caring Sister. She gives support, and then at any time you can pay 2 ink to give 1 chosen character -1 attack during the turn. We are getting 2 lore from this character when it's exerted, which is awesome, and she's a 5 cost, which is important for later. Our next one is the Bodyguard Nani, 3/6, which is pretty good for a booty and for surviving. A good attack on there too, with 2 lore that she can gain also from questing. Now, again, the 5 cost will be important for later cards. You can probably already see it in the deck profile, but our next card is going to be our other card that will help in the early stages of the game with the Grand Council Woman. When she has quested, all other aliens will gain +1 lore, which is all of our Stitches. We will not focus on too much on her, but we do want to have her as our main facilitator of lore. We have our first Shift Stitch, which will, once you shift with him, you'll be able to put any action from your graveyard back to the top of your deck. There are quite a few actions in the deck, and that you want to actually do that when you have the opportunity that makes the most sense. Don't just do it randomly. And it gives you lore. We have our other Floodborn, which are shift target of 4. It's the Stitch that lets you play when you play a 2 cost or less character, you can exert them and draw cards. It's a main draw engine to the game. For your play for your deck, and we are trying to gain 3 lore from that whenever we have a chance to. We're not too focused on this card, which is our Stitch Carefree Surfer, so we have a couple of them in the deck, but we don't see ourselves seeing too many of this effect proccing and going off. Most of the time it's inked, but it's a good card to have in the deck to follow our theme, because it will actually get more lore from the Grand Council one, which is also really good. Our next part of the theme is the Moana theme. And we have our first Moana character, raised up all princesses, including other Moanas, which is very important. We also have a 5 cost again, another important card, because our next card that we are going to be talking about helps bring out all these 5 cost or less characters, and that is Just in Time. Just in Time, another Moana based card, will help you bring out any 5 cost or less character for free as early as turn 3. Any of those big Nanis, the Moanas, any of those characters are very helpful to get out quite fast and make use of your questing as fast as you can. We have some form of damage in the deck, which is our Mosquito Bite. Mosquito Bite just puts 1 damage onto any character. It doesn't matter about them taking damage or resist, because it's only putting 1 damage on it. It's not dealing 1 damage, which is very important to know. It could also bypass resist. I'm not quite sure about put damage, so we'll find out in a coming video. Our next action is ready a chosen character, which lets you just quest again, attack again, whoever you want. It's just uninkable, that's the downside to it, but it still follows our theme of Lilo and Stitch. We have our next card, which is going to be You Are Welcome. You Are Welcome actually helps with all the characters that you can't deal with, or if you need to draw more cards, you can have things being sung and have it deal some sort of help with the deck, or help against you to help you draw, or help your opponent get rid of their characters that you don't want them to have. And our last card that we want to focus on here is the Item Scrum. It actually gives your opponent's characters minus 2 attack when you exert one of your characters until the end of their turn. If you need things to survive, I do recommend using this sparingly, because you don't need to use it too often. So let's get to some of the gameplay here. As we get looking through some of the gameplay here, we have our first game. We have a whole bunch of cards in our hand here that we don't want to use right away. We put back our 2 cards, and then we start looking at our first play. We have 2 Mosquito Bites to deal with anything that comes out onto the field that our opponent doesn't play anything for, so we're just going to continue on with our normal play of Stitch and try to just get him out in case our opponent tries to play something big. We are trying to set up our Nani and our David plays ahead of time, so we do want to drop the David as fast as possible so that we can get out the Nani with the just in time, so that we can start getting lots of questing done with our David. She is the bodyguard one, which helps us a lot. We start questing and we get up to 5 right away, just because of the David's +2, so he has 3 lore on him immediately. Our opponent drops a whole bunch of characters, and they can't get through much because they have to get through our Nani. We activate the Mosquito Bite, which we didn't need to do. We could have just cut that back for later, but we just kept on questing with David. And our Stitch, we can always take out any of the characters that we want with the Stitch and just power boost stuff. We are just going to use our bodyguard and protect our main lore gangers right now. We're going to pass our turn as there's nothing else in our hand to play, which is one of the big weaknesses of the deck. You need to be able to draw cards, and you might want to not dump your hand as fast as possible, but you do also need to ink it a lot. We ran out our Moana, so we have some insurance plans, but we have already almost got up to the 20 lore in just a matter of like turns. Our opponent is playing a more Frozen based deck, but we're just trying to show us off the main deck and how it functions right now. They did finally get rid of the Nani with the big Olaf, and then I now lost my bonus, but I have enough to just quest out. I'm just using the Stitch ability to show off here how it could work, power boosting him up, leaving 3 open for my card to be shown here. You came back so we can take out a couple targets, showing how good that card is, and then we quest for the next game. Now we're in our next game here. We are going to get rid of all the high cost cards. We do have 2 just in time, so we want to keep some of the 5 cost cards so that we can bring them out right away. We have a Stitch, so that's good. We have a 1 drop to drop right away. Instead of doing the Lilo, we want to do Stitch so that we don't have to worry about getting our Lilo killed. We also did draw into the second Lilo, the 2 cost one, so we can start now just bringing that out and having Stitch take care of some of the board there. We purposely wanted to give their opponent some more lore through the Fred so that we can just help get rid of some characters off the board. Now we're trying to decide if we want to get rid of the Mosquito Bite, and yes we do, because we want to put it towards the just in time and then start getting mass questing out and try to race our opponent now. They have to now deal with our board, and they have to deal with before it gets out of hand on our end. We don't want to play quite the Lilo yet, and we want to ink our other Lilo because we want to keep our board presence up, and we use Stitch to start taking out some characters. So quest with Moana so that we can get a bunch of lore out of it, and then drop as much characters as we can. It is a hyper aggro type of deck, and I do recommend questing as much as you can over trying to do anything fancy. Well, when you get a Lilo in the grave, after like its first turn being there, I would recommend using it if you have confidence that you will be able to get some ink to put down. I dropped 2 Lilos, so that's just a big Lilo game right now, and I'm going to be questing far faster than my opponent can deal with. I want that Moana to stay alive so I can take out the support character, and we did get a Nani, which is awesome off the top of the deck, which we can get into Bodyguard and take out the support, take out some of their lore gang, and then just quest with our massively low board here, so that our opponent can't do anything else with it. They're hitting the 16 really fast to get the training grounds up, and we are just dropping a Stitch, a special ability because we didn't shift it. We're using Nani to take out, and one of the Legos to take out the Baymax, and now that they don't have anything on their cards, we're going to just quest. I did mess up and realize that I could have just quested with my other Lilo and attacked with the other one. I'm showing off some of the effects that the Stich can do by putting a new action from the grave back to the top of the deck if I actually needed it, and then just questing for game here because this how fast the deck is. Our next game here, we have a whole bunch of characters that we don't need right away. We want to fish for some of our one-cost characters. We do want to drop the Myrtle as fast as we can because we don't want to be left behind for lore game. It's a Steel and a Sapphire deck, and they could possibly have some cards that will deal with our characters. So we are bringing out Myrtle first, and then next turn bringing out all the other little characters. And they did have something, so that's good that we waited for that. Now we're just gonna just in time our Nani out so that we can start power boosting our Myrtle and then questing as much as we can. It looks like our opponent might not have drawn quite well because they just keep drawing item after item, getting more draws but not really doing anything with it. So I'm just going to start questing, power boosting my characters, and then going from there. And then we are making our Myrtle just funnily big. It could take out anything. Having our you came back on Nani, and then getting support over to Myrtle again, and her +7, which is funny. They did finally drop a Harem, and then the Harem is going to get some draws off while I drop some more characters that put pressure on the board. Use Nani's ability to -1 attack, so we can't do anything to my other characters. We're going to power boost Myrtle, and then quest for some more. They're still at 0, and they can't even catch up at this point. And what I'm trying to do is just make a pretty big board and get more characters out, and so I can just quest for as much of the game as I can. I'm going to power boost all my chicken and the hay, and I'm going to power boost my Myrtle and my Lilo, and my Lilo can now just quest, and my Myrtle can quest. I have another you came back, and I can just quest and finish the game. Well, if you're looking for singles, check out Realm Hoppers, our Cards and Collectibles, a Canadian-based TCG online singles store, and get your singles from them today. Have a good night. Bye.